Be confident, be bold, be authentic, but don't forget to take action. This is Ordinary to Badass, where our stories empower women to step into the spotlight of their own lives and pursue what they're truly passionate about. It's time to step into the arena and become more than just extraordinary. It's time to become a badass with your host, Marie Sonneman.
Welcome to Ordinary to Badass, episode number 298. Oh my gosh, can you believe we're already at episode number 298? Blows my mind. So today you're going to hear from Sasha Rogers, and why she is so badass. Now, last episode, you heard the interview with Sasha. If you didn't, go back and listen. And Sasha was a drug and alcohol counselor, and then she switched and started her own business during the pandemic. And we talk about all sorts of different things in that episode, like life challenges and different things that she had to overcome. And she was very vulnerable, and I appreciated that. And yeah, there was just so much goodness in that episode, and talk about health, fitness, all the things. So make sure, go back and listen to that episode because you're not going to want to miss it. I'm going to tell you this episode is out a little bit late, and I know that's not going to matter a year from now if you're listening to the episode then, but it certainly matters to me, and I want to say that I'm sorry because you know what? I like to be consistent. And actually, funny enough, that's something Sasha talked about, but we'll get to it. But I like to be consistent. And you know what? Life got in the way, and I was working a ton and way more than normal. So it just kind of affected things, and something had to give. So unfortunately, this is going to be a day late, hopefully not $1 short. But I'm glad to be here with you and to share 3 reasons why Sasha is so badass. So let's just dig right in. So Sasha is so badass. One of the reasons is for how she managed her priorities. Sasha talked about how when she moved, or when she had her child, her first child, everything was changing around her. And her job that she had as a drug and alcohol counselor was changing. And she said that they were canceling the office that she worked out of. Yes, I don't know. I was already doing the X for canceling. But they were canceling the office that she worked out of, and or closing it. It's probably better to say. And so she was going to have to travel a whole lot more. And so she's like, well, I was 7 weeks in to maternity leave, and I started thinking, I can't do this. This doesn't work for me. How am I going to leave a baby and then travel, be on the road more? That's more hours away from home. So she started thinking about it, and there was a pandemic going on too. So lots of stress, lots of stuff going on. And you know what? She listened to her instinct. She listened to her intuition. And she's like, this is not going to work for me. So she looked, what are my priorities? And her family, her kid, her newborn baby, that was her priority. And she was like, I want to be home with the baby. And so she made a change. And it was something she had thought about doing before, but she just wasn't ready to take the leap, right? And then when she started to have competing priorities and the baby came into the picture, then she was like, okay, something's got to give. Something's got to change. And so she made the decision to start her own business. Again, this was something that she wanted to do before, but she just couldn't quite make the leap until she had the baby. So often, whether it's like with a job or with something we want to do, maybe a hobby that you have, we are like, oh, I want to pick up this. I want to stop doing this and do more of this. And it's so hard to prioritize. But if we know, this is number one, and this is number two. Or you're like, okay, this is my first value. My first value is family. So I'm going to make all my decisions based on my family. Then that might be able to help you prioritize. And a lot of times we know deep in our gut what it is that we want to be doing, but it's so hard to get there. It is hard as heck to get there and to do what we need to be doing, what we want to be doing. So Sasha prioritized her family. And it's not like she didn't have a good job, right? She had a cush job, or I don't know, she had a good paying job, something that would bring steady income. And she was like, nope, this is my priority. My family is my priority. And so then she used that to help get the motivation, get the energy, get the courage to step away and start her own business. That's badass, right? Because change is not easy. It is not easy. On the other side of it, like looking back, it's like, oh, cool. But in the moment, it's not easy. And I think at the beginning of the last episode, Sasha even talked about that, like about feeling like a badass. Like it's a series of events over time. It's incidents that happen in your life. And then when you look back, you're like, oh, cool. I did that. So again, it might not be obvious in the moment, but in the long run, it's like, can give you a little swag, make you feel a little more badass. But you also have to reflect on that, right? Look back at the moments in your life and look back and see the badassery. Like, see all of the hard things that you have overcome. Write a list, because sometimes we need, not sometimes, often we need reminders. So when we're down in the dumps, or we have a crap day, or have those negative thought loops going on in our head, then you can go back and look at all those badass things that you've done. All right, I went on a tangent. Number two, the second reason why Sasha Rogers is so badass is for her resilience. So Sasha went through a lot of hard shit, right? And we don't see this. We really don't see this in the social media world that we live in. And I like social media. I'm not complaining about it, but it is hard to see. You don't ever see the bad sides, or it's rare that you see the bad side, rare that you see the negative, or people show you the view that they want you to see, or the perspective they want you to have. It's about influence, right? So then we don't see the behind the scenes. We don't see all the crap that goes down. So we start to think like, oh, perfect life, perfect life, perfect life. But not me. Nope. Nobody has a perfect life. And some people try to keep up that facade. So I really appreciated, and I've said this several times, but I really appreciated Sasha's vulnerability when she came on this podcast. And she said all of the hard things. No, she said a few of the hard things she's went through, right? But there's more than that. We all have more than what we present. But I appreciate her being vulnerable when she came on the show. And she is just resilient AF. And I won't say the F word on the podcast just because you might have little ears around. So resilient as F. Yes. She is a mom. And so she has a busy life, struggles with mom life, as most moms do, right? At certain times, there's going to be struggles, hardships, things you have to get through. And then she said she had one child that was autistic. And so she had to learn how to deal with that, because that child would be needy or need things. And she still had to work and do her job. So it would be hard to figure out how to manage it all. But she's resilient. She figured it out and kept on going, right? And then struggles with business. And then she talked about her husband with infidelity and being in kind of a small community. So it was like everybody knew. It's like, that's hard. That's hard. And people place a lot of judgment on that, right? People can place a lot of judgment on what you're doing or what you should be doing, or if you stay with somebody, if you leave somebody, all this judgment for people who aren't even in the relationship or who haven't experienced it. And even if they have, every single situation is different, right? So they haven't experienced it the way she's experienced it. But being under scrutiny, being under judgment, and then like bouncing back and still doing things her way and showing up. And here's another thing is like telling the freaking story, telling the story about overcoming these things or about the hardship that she faced, telling the story about the infidelity. That is not easy. That isn't easy at all. But I think Brene Brown talks about this, like shame hides in secrets and stuff that we don't share or tell people. And so, yeah, well, her little corner of the world or her city or town might be aware of what happened. Everybody else doesn't know what happened, right? The ordinary to badass listeners don't know what happened, I'm assuming. So she wouldn't have to share it. But shame, it hides in that secrecy. And so maybe, just maybe, by her sharing her story and what happened and how she dealt with it, okay, cool. Then you don't feel so alone. If you're going through that same situation or have been through that same situation, it's like, oh, Sasha, she's badass and she talked about it. She went through it. She got through it. Maybe I can get through it. There's so much power in sharing your hardships and your struggles. And you know what? I'm not saying just like be a bleeding wound and share every little thing to everybody. A lot of times you find a safe place, right? Or safe space to share. But then like after it's healed, after that wound is healed and it's no longer like in the moment, then, you know, it could be a time that you could share with people and you choose how that works, right? Everything's going to be a little bit different for everybody. But I do appreciate the power of speaking your truth and speaking up about things, because there are for sure other people who have gone through the same stinking thing. And so it's good to have somebody to relate to. It's good to say, yeah, I can get through that too. So let's get to number 3. The third reason why Sasha Rogers is so badass is because of her perspective on progress. So Sasha would say, because she helps with health, and she's helped women lose like 100 pounds, and health can be a hard thing. It can be a hard topic to talk about, right? And Sasha talks about breaking down barriers and having small, consistent action, or taking small, consistent action. I love that. I think taking consistent action is huge and it's undervalued. It's like consistency. Just do the same thing over and over again. That's how we get practice. It's like, I don't know who says this or where this came from, but it's like you need 10,000 hours of something, of practice, to become an expert. So you're going to get that a whole lot quicker by being consistent with something, doing the same thing at the same day, or same day, same time. Words are hard. So every day you do something at 7 a.m., right? Maybe you go for a run, you go for a walk, you do whatever. And so you get into that habit. It's kind of like the Atomic Habits by James Clear. And he's like, one habit you already have, brushing your teeth. And then right after that, go for a walk. So just partner habits together. But that will lead to some consistency. And Sasha teaches that in her coaching program. I mentioned this on the last episode, but it's worth mentioning again. Tiffany Babb was on the Ordinary to Badass podcast before. She was like, everything is like, the big events in our life, the big things are made from those daily habits, from the things that we do every single day. That's where the glory is. And often we think that's where the monotony is. That, the drudgery of every single day until we hit our goal. That seems so lame. We think that, right? But that's actually what gives you the grit, what gives you the tenacity to push on. That's what gets you that big end goal. It's like if you hadn't have put in the work every day in between, that end goal never would have happened. It's like the secret sauce is in the consistency. It's in the daily work that you put in. And Sasha realizes that, and she teaches it to her clients so that they can have success too. Another thing that Sasha talks about is like baby steps. So along with the consistent action, it's taking a baby step to get there. It's the small things that help you. It doesn't have to be some huge step. So if you want to start, walking more, let's use that as an example, then maybe you just walk to your mailbox every single day. Go out and get mail. That's it. Don't do more than that. Don't do less than that. All you have to do is make sure you go out to your mailbox every day. Then maybe after a week or a month, then you increase it and you go a little bit further, go a little bit further. The small steps that Sasha is talking about, it helps it to feel manageable. It helps us to get into those habits and doesn't feel overwhelming. It's like, okay, I can go to my mailbox. Who can't? Most of us can. But it's just that small step that makes it seem easy. And then to add a little bit to that small step, add a little bit more over time. So I love that Sasha said that. I think small baby steps and being consistent, you add those two together, it's fire. And it might not seem like it, but really, that's where the glory comes in. That's where the guts comes in. That's where the tenacity, like, it builds you up. It gets you ready for the bigger thing. So don't underestimate it. Take those stinking baby steps. Okay, quick recap. 3 reasons why Sasha Rogers is so badass. First is how she manages her priorities. Second is for her resilience. And third is for her perspective on progress. So if you like Sasha's episode or this recap episode, definitely let Sasha know. Reach out to her, let her know the impact that it had on you. And I'll throw her website or her social media handle for Instagram, if she has one, on the episode notes, for sure on the show notes. So check that out. And you can also leave a 5-star rating and review on iTunes. If you love this episode, every stinking review helps. So head on over, leave the rating and review so other badasses just like you can find the show. With that, we'll end our show. To all the badass women out there staying in the arena, wherever you are, whatever you're doing, own it and get after it.
Now that you've listened to this episode of Ordinary to Badass, we want to hear from you. Go to our website, ordinarytobadass.com/podcast, and submit your own experience on how you took your life from ordinary to badass and get the chance to be on a future spotlight episode of the show. That's ordinarytobadass.com/podcast. While you're waiting for the next episode of the show, wipe off the sweat, dust off the dirt, and get back in the arena.